1 hour. The Secretary General and the head of the Civil Service further clarifies controversies surrounding the $669 million withdrawals mentioned in the Auditor General's report. The Director of Health Promotion and Education laments Gambia's COVID-19 vaccination rate, saying it is far below expectations. Plus, a Portuguese organization, IMVF, and partners train returning migrants on entrepreneurship. And away from home, fuel prices in Kenya rises to new historic highs in April, adding more pressure on the economy and pushing up the cost of living. Elsewhere, Central African Republic adopts Bitcoin as legal currency. Well, viewers, these and other stories coming ahead in the next 1 hour. I am Esa So. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. We begin this bulletin with controversies surrounding the 2017 Auditor General's report. The accounts inherited from a past government was closed for transparency and better financial management reasons, says the Secretary General and the head of the Civil Service. Speaking to GRTS, Noah Toure explained that the closure of the accounts helped government to establish a more accountable and transparent financial system. Let's take a listen.
Yes, you did ask why the account was closed. Like I said, it was for reasons of transparency. When the administration came into office, the transition was not smooth and it was a bit chaotic. So, there was not much time to distinguish between one account and the other. But eventually, we distinguished the difference between the accounts and the need to have sanity in the managing the accounts. But notwithstanding, they kept the account just for a couple of months to be able to facilitate the president's movement. But eventually, in line with proper financial management as championed by His Excellency, the President, he decided that all accounts should be closed. All the government accounts should be closed. Because remember, was one of the accounts that were opened under the previous regime. Several accounts were opened, but this is just one of them. So, but His Excellency decided that all the accounts should be closed. And then we have a single treasury mint account. That is where all government funds were being paid into. Even now, if the president is traveling, all the expenses are paid for through that account by the by the Accountant General's office. All the monies are processed through the account, being it per diem, being it impress, being it hire of aircraft, everything is processed. Funds are provided by the Ministry of Finance, and it's in the process into physical cards or whatever checks by the Accountant General's department.
Okay. Thank you. What are the lessons learned?
The lessons learned are that we have to maintain sanity in our accounting or financial management. That is why His Excellency issued the instructions that all the accounts should be closed and we have one consolidated revenue fund account. Imagine if we did not close all the accounts, we would have been talking about several accounts and many more problems, to narrate. It would have caused so much problem even for the audits that would ensue. So closing this is just to maintain sanity.
For clarity, what message do you want to send down to the public?
Yes, I think to the public is just to say that there is a marked difference between, the financial, expenditure during the past regime and now. You see, the account was lumped, which is not too proper. As reported, the 669 has two different accounts, so it shouldn't have been lumped. And even where it was lumped, this should have been explained that there are two different accounts. One, the bulk of it, which is about 633 million, was spent by the previous administration. About 35 million was spent by this company. If that has been made clear from the onset by whoever was giving the information, perhaps it wouldn't have led to this kind of commotion and misinterpretation. So what we appeal from the public is that, not even the public, but for people giving
That was Noah Ture, the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service. Over now to this press release from the Independent Electoral Commission, and it reads, pursuant to Section 23 of the Local Government Act, the Independent Electoral Commission informs the general public that the following candidates have been duly nominated to contest in the forthcoming local government by-elections slated for the 14th of May 2022. First, with the Kanifing Administrative Area. And these are the candidates in the Kanifing Administrative Area that are duly nominated. Aliu Binjai, Bundung 6 Johnson, NPP, Babukar Sila, Bundung 6 Johnson, PDOIS, Mariama Ndong. Mariama Ndong is Bundung 6 Johnson, independent candidate. Aji J, London Corner, NPP. Modu Lamin Kujabi, London Corner, PDOIS. Usenu Kamara, London Corner, UDP. Usenu Allen, London Corner, independent. Seh Manka, London Corner, independent. Abdul Wahab Gay, London Corner, independent candidate. And Lamin M. Sanyang, NPP. Boto Lamin Bojang Rada, Sanyang, NPP, and Boto Bojang, Sanyang, NPP, Sidi Nyasi, Marakisa Ward, NPP, and Lamin Sambu, Marakisa UDP, and Sukai Sanyang, Marakisa Independent. And that is from the Independent Electoral Commission. Away from that, efforts to get Gambians vaccinated has not been easy as one would have expected. Currently, the rate of those vaccinated is far below the expectations of health officials. This was disclosed by the Director of Health Promotion and Education, Modou Njai, during an interview with GRTS's Good Morning Gambia program. Njai further outlined his ministry's plans to roll out a COVID-19 vaccination campaign starting from the 9th of May 2022 to cope the situation. Let's take a listen.
But as I speak to you now, we have not been recording cases for the past 1 week.
Yes.
And I think that is encouraging. We got based on our data from the 15th to the 17th, which is the 435th situational report, that has indicated that we have not recorded a single case, either death or new case.
I think it's also the reduction in the symptoms as well.
Exactly.
They say the vaccine is also helping.
I think, yeah. In fact, that's we want to associate it to the vaccine, and that's why we are now urging people to come out and get vaccinated. That's going to be good for the country, so that we can also be able to open up. The tourism season is about to start, and then people can move on their business. That's what we want. But we still have challenges. We want the people now to help us.
Yeah.
The traditional rulers, these are the traditional communicators, the traditional leaders, the district chiefs, I mean, the village alcalos, and the imams, all of them need to help us. Now, continue in their summons. If they are in the summons, they can talk about the importance of vaccination and people getting. And then we want to assure the people, with all the vaccination we have been doing, we've not recorded a single death as a result of vaccination.
The vaccine.
We've also not recorded at least, I mean, we say a serious, I mean, side effect after vaccination. We've also not recorded that. So that's a very good, encouraging, I mean, story that we can be able to tell people that the vaccine is safe and it's effective and it doesn't harm anyone.
And now also people say that since health officials have been saying whether they take the vaccine or not, it doesn't stop them from contracting this virus. How do you demystify that concept?
Actually, if you are vaccinated, it helps, it builds up your immune system.
Okay.
So that, like, for example, you have soldiers in your body, the vaccine will now trigger, when that gets into the system, it triggers them to get active. So when you're not vaccinated, automatically those soldiers will be still weak, and the virus can still attack, get into your system and then weaken you. Okay. So that's why the vaccine will also be there to give energy to those soldiers in the system for them to be able to get ready to fight the virus. So that's why it's important to get vaccinated. So it helps to protect, and really it is safe and cost effective. So that is why we're saying that you don't pay anything for it. The teams are not interested in this time. We are having teams that are going to communities. And some of them will be moving between states. And we will have a PA system around to inform people where the teams are going to be. So that, for example, in Serekunda, they will say that the teams will be in Tepakunda, and they identify, they will go around to inform those people around that cluster for them to tell them that the vaccination teams are around here. So this way, we don't want anybody to miss this opportunity. Because there'll be a time the vaccine will not be available, and you might like to travel, and they will ask you for vaccination.
The card,
and then when you, now, even the card we are given is the blue card. But when you are traveling, there's also a white document that we give you, and that has a barcode. And that barcode, anywhere you go, they scan that. That also indicates you are vaccinated. So if you're not vaccinated, you can cannot get the card and you can also get the certificate.
Really?
Yes, yes, yes.
So what happens then when you lose your vaccination card?
You need to try to quickly get the information on the, maybe if you can remember the time you've taken the vaccine.
Okay.
And either is it AstraZeneca,
Yes.
is it Pfizer, is it Sinopharm, is it Johnson & Johnson? If you're able to remember that, then you report to the EPI office and then they'll be able to
They will
at least
get you the
get to the
card.
database and then get the, but it's important for people to keep the cards.
Yes,
So
and
that
in
when you are
fact, scan
traveling,
it and keep it in your
yeah,
email.
yeah, exactly. That's the most important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the campaign, when is it starting? And what's so different about this particular one? Because you were speaking with so much enthusiasm for this one.
Exactly. So what happened? We are starting on the 9th of May to the 15th. That's 7 days.
Okay.
And after, every month we'll have mini campaigns like that. But this other one, we want to make a lot of aggressive awareness. We want to inform people about it so that when we create demand, that now people can now get vaccinated. But
That was Mudinjai, Director of Health Promotion and Education. Moving on, dozens of customers converge on the Abuko Central Abattoir to buy meat for household consumption in observance of the Muslim holy feast of Laylatul Qadr, also known as the Night of Power, while others have bought meat ahead of the Muslim feast of Idul Fitri. Usman Mane visited the popular livestock marketing center in Abuko and spoke to stakeholders in the livestock production and management business, and this is his report.
Laylatul Qadr is a unique night of worship for Muslims which every faithful is searching for during the month of Ramadan. This is accompanied with providing good meals for family consumption. In the Gambia, the day is one of such where people prefer to eat good meat for healthy well-being. People visit the Abuko Central Abattoir to see what they can take along to their families as part of observing the day. I spoke to the president of the National Livestock Owners Association, Ibrahim Ojalo, on cattle and small ruminants that made it to the abattoir.
And most of these animals you see here, they are not Gambian animals. They are animals that cross the border to come to this place. So this is why this place is busy. And then all that we do, we try to accommodate our neighboring countries, the dealers who come around, so that they are comfortable. And then once we have more animals, if you cannot get animal A, you can get animal B in your own affordable price. So here, the price ranges from 20,000, 35,000, up to 80,000. If you look at the bulls, they can determine the type of prices that they have.
Cattle is the most preferred commodity during the Eid feast. A kilogram of beef and mutton is sold for $300 to $350, and customers are seriously engaging butchers and livestock dealers to buy some. Price hike is a household name in Gambian markets nowadays, but the stakeholders in livestock, according to Jalo, are committed to fair pricing.
And we have to say bravo to the Gambia Livestock Marketing Agency. They have a tariff across the body, across the country, and each region have their own tariff. So if you sell above that tariff, meaning you are cheating. Sometimes we do understand, sometimes the prices, the safer goes up and down, but when such thing happen, usually the agency will call the dealers and the stakeholders, we sit down together, and then we see actually what went wrong somewhere, and then we see how we can adjust. But
I met Yusufa Jawara, who is on a humanitarian service to vulnerable groups. He tells us how Islam holds caring for fellow faithfuls. According to him, a cow can cost as low as $30,000.
So we're here to kill the bulls. Some have the upper hand, some kill the sheep, some kill the goat. So after you make charity for the poor people, you yourself, your family, and others. So this is a means to support each other. This can tell that fasting is a mind of sorrow Allah giving to us. So if I'm fasting, I feel the hunger. So next time if somebody comes to you crying for hunger, you must feel that pain. And with the pain, you must get sorrow in your heart. From the sorrow in your heart, then you can offer something. So that's why we're giving this for charity to the people, ourselves, and the rest of the families.
In the height of the booming business in livestock, the Nalwa boss advised people to be mindful of livestock products, thereby citing cattle theft is becoming a concern.
the advice we are giving to the general public, make sure that any animal that you bought, make sure that you try to have a particular document. That's the attestation, either from the daral or from the alkali, to indicate that this animal is bought here. Because sometimes people will go somewhere around and take or steal an animal, go and sell it to a particular people. And those people will never know that this animal is stolen. They have their clean money and they want to have a clean meat so that they can satisfy their family.
Actors in livestock promised to adhere to the tariff instituted by the Livestock Marketing Agency in reducing the burden on the people as well as increase income for farmers. They thank government for the support despite border challenges in importing the needed livestock for national consumption. Access to drinking water for animals is a challenge as more cattle and small ruminants descend on the abattoir. Usman Mane, GRTS.
From that report there by Usman Mane, we head to the North Bank region, where a Portuguese organization called IMVF, in partnership with the Network of Reintegration and Irregular Migration Data Association, with support from the European Union, is conducting a 5-day training on entrepreneurship skills acquisition. The training underway in Lower Nyomi community of Kanuma targeted returnees mainly from the Lower and Upper Nyomi as well as the Jokadu district. Famarakani picks up the rest of that story.
The 5-day training supported by IMVF goes with the theme Entrepreneurship Training for Returnees of the Network of Reintegration and Irregular Migration Data Association. The participants went through a rigorous selection process. The aim of the training is to equip them with entrepreneurship skills as well as expose them to some available opportunities in the country. Some of the trainees here have their personal stories they experience through a journey that takes months, if not years, with very little chances of success. The Network for Reintegration and Irregular Migration Data Association is working with returnees across the North Bank region. Bai Gassama is the CEO of the association. In his opening remarks, he said their main objective is to create better reintegration plans for returnees to live a meaningful life in society.
If you don't fail, you are not even trying. If you don't fail, meaning you are not even trying. You try to go through the back way to look for a new opportunity, and it doesn't work. You come back here. You tried, and you come back. But doesn't mean that it is off. You can start a new page by doing this. After this entrepreneurship training, you have the knowledge. You go and capitalize on it and have something from there.
Mohammed Danso works with the startup incubators as a program coordinator. Speaking to the participants, he challenged them to venture into the agriculture sector as it is one of the most productive sectors in the Gambia.
It's beyond making the money, all right? It's about creating a positive impact in your community. And there's no better way of reintegrating you back into the society than to make sure you are included in the productive sectors of our economy. And agriculture is one key productive sector in our economy. And I'm really glad that IMVF have that foresight.
Other speakers from the IOM office in Bara and from the Gambia Immigration Department called on the youth to take the training program serious and to utilize all the gains. Sagar Cham is a returnee from Bara. She shared her story with GRTS. I was in a boat that capsized in Mauritania some years ago. We were about 300 people, but only 80 of us had survived. Today, I'm thankful that I'm alive, and I'm ready to make it here in my country. I am hoping that this training will help to connect me to some available opportunities. The backway journey was so demanding. I nearly failed in life, but thank God I came back home, settled and got married to start a family. Right now, I do some minor works in the community to live a decent life. I think this training will have some positive outcomes. Mohamed Tarawale, a returnee from Berending, lamented. This is their first organized training and is supported by the IMVF. With tens of returnees under their purview, the association is looking forward to more of such trainings. For the news, I am Famarakani.
We still stay in the North Bank region because the community of Bara, in partnership with the First Lady Foundation and GSM company Africell, recently organized an iftar for residents of Bara and Essel. GRTS's Baba Silla was there, and he now tells us more.
Scores of people, young and old, line up in the queue with smiles as they receive their package for breakfast, courtesy of FAB Foundation in collaboration with Africell. It is an annual gesture initiated by the foundation since 2017, and the gesture has touched many lives in all the regions. The First Lady who led the initiative joined her former colleagues to distribute the food packet to the communities of Bara and Essau.
Today I'm happy that I'm collaborating with them. They are one of my foundation sponsors, but behind the scenes. I decided to join them to come to Bara because it's nearer to Banjul to give people iftar. And I think it's a must that Muslims should do in the month of Ramadan because Ramadan means giving and giving love to people. You can't give love to people without giving them food.
Musa Sise, head of media and communication at Africell, said the gesture is part of the company's responsibility to reach out to the people, especially during the holy month of Ramadan, which is a month of sharing and caring.
This is customary to us as Africell, and this is a month that we care so much, and it's a month that we learn to give and share everything that we had over the years. You know, Ramadan as Muslims, it's a period that we cherish, and we always like to share. And the First Ladies Foundation is one of the foundations we so much collaborate about annually to give back to the public. And this is one of the areas or locations we visited this year. We were in Foni Bondal, in Bondal, we were in Brikama, we are here today. And just to give out. And it's so fulfilling. And that's why we're so pleased to have collaborated with her, such a wonderful woman. And we hope that we'll continue doing these things so that at least our social corporate responsibility that we care so much about will continue to deliver to the Gambian public.
Beneficiaries, including the Alcalde of Bara, welcomed the gesture, expressing high hope for such benevolence in the future. Bawa Sila, GRTS.
A local charity called Zinta Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development recently donated food items to prison inmates through the Gambia Prison Service. Ibrahim Jallo reports.
This is the latest humanitarian intervention by Zinta Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development. The NGO presented valuable food items including rice, sugar and condiments to the Gambia Prison Services, meant for prison inmates ahead of the end of Ramadan feast of Eid al-Fitr. The Director of Communication, Mama Jay, and the coordinator of Zinta in the Gambia, Mati Sambu, said the organization provides voluntary services in different sectors, including health and environment. The NGO also extends support to needy people in society, including prisoners, especially during the Muslims' holy month of Ramadan.
Zinta Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development is socio-economic activities such as providing services in the areas of health, education, agriculture, environment, and so on and so forth.
We believe in sharing during the month of Ramadan. And last year also we were in 3 communities. We were in Esau, we were in Medina Kanuma, we were also in Kanuma to distribute food items. And this year we are here in the prisons to share with our brothers and our sisters, our uncles and aunties that are here because of one reason or the other. We pray that God will take them out from this place.
Prisons officials, including the Deputy Director of Prison Services, Mori Jaju, thanked Zinta for the gesture, saying the food items were much needed. They, however, challenged the organization to also support rehabilitation programs of the prison.
It's very important that you brought rice and other goods. It's welcoming. We welcome that. It's good. But I think you guys are supposed to help us also in the reformation process. Of the inmates who have skills, who are trained on skills here, they are making best use of those skills outside there.
The executive director of Zinta, Dr. Umar Tanu, took note of other needs of the prisons department and promised to do more. He said Zinta is committed to serve in Africa for good.
We promise you that we will come back again. Inshallah, we will return here. We will return here and give back. That is what we know best to do, to give back to our communities, to our people, to Africa. And that's why Zinta Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development has a nickname, which is called Zinta Africa. The big picture is we want to work for the good of Africa.
Zinta Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development is present in different African countries, including Nigeria. Ibrahim Jallo, GRTS News.
And still on Ramadan benevolence, because the Ex-Students Association of Armitage Senior Secondary School recently organized a special iftar for students on campus. Modulamin Sane was in the island settlement of Janjambure and he sent in this report.
A special iftar meal for the students of Armitage Senior Secondary School marks the latest intervention made by its Ex-Students Association. Catering an iftar meal has now become customary for these members of the association traveling back to their alma mater to render support that is critically needed, particularly during Ramadan.
It's indeed a very good gesture, but I would just see it as a source of inspiration for all the ex-students to emulate what this group is doing. They have been helping a lot. They have come in different forms, ranging from giving us food items, furniture, and even cash donation. Deep freezer was recently donated by Ngelo Group, and other groups are also coming.
The meal is fully sponsored by the association with support from the Office of the First Lady, Madam Fatmata Babaru. The move intends to feed all students on campus with a nutritious meal.
This was initiated by us to make sure at least, we trap from different Armitage students to make sure at least they contribute their quota in making this drive successful. We were able to reach out to individual donors to at least see that how best they can actually, help us reach to this stage. And alhamdulillah, we're able to definitely reach that stage.
The effort seeking to put smiles on the faces of these students is lauded by the school authorities as well as students.
The fact that you've seen a smile on my face is just, a smile was just put on my face by our ex-students. They're just so kind-hearted. We cannot pay them enough because giving us food, making us happy, this is just something that we cannot pay them, and we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them.
I'm satisfied and at the same time inspired because I felt that this is what it means to be an Armitagean. This is what it means to be an Armitage student. Because the motto of our school batch says, enter to land, go forth to serve. So if we go through Armitage, we go back, we leave the school, we don't know where we may find ourselves, but it is better we come back and give back to the alma mater. So as a current student of Armitage Senior Secondary School, I am indeed inspired by this action taken by the ex-students association.
This is the second time the general ex-student body, comprising all former classes, are organizing iftar meal at the Armitage Senior Secondary School. Modulamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central.
Well, with that report there by Modulamin Sane in Janjambure, we will now join the Central Forecast Office for the day's weather news. You're watching GRTS News, and I am Esaso. Time now to take another break. When we return, we will look at news beyond our borders.
Cappuccino, please.
Download the Apple TV app and watch your favorite TV channels anywhere, anytime. Just dial *222# to subscribe and buy special data bundles at a cheaper price. Africell makes life easier.
Tired of seeing the message you have insufficient funds in your account? Worry no more. With Africell, the cholera credit just got way better.
Now you can continue your conversations with your loved ones. With the new Color credit, you can now borrow up to $250 credit. Send a blank SMS to 152 to get your Color credit and activate the service of your choice. For more info, please call 111.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back, and time now for a look at the internationals. Fuel prices in Kenya rose to historic highs in April, adding more pressure on the economy and pushing up the cost of living. Experts now say the country is inching towards stagflation caused by high inflation and job losses. Details of that in this CGTN report.
Barely 2 weeks after crippling fuel shortages almost brought the country to a standstill, parts of the country are again experiencing fuel shortages. Worse still, a sharp increase in fuel prices mid this month has seen a rise in food and transport prices. The cost of fuel is at its highest in Kenya's history, with a litre of petrol retailing at $1.24. There are now concerns this could accelerate the economy's slide to stagflation.
This is characterized by slow economic growth and relatively high unemployment, leading to economic stagnation.
The latest figures published by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics show an increase in the overall year-on-year inflation at the end of March to 5.56%. The rise was attributed mainly to an increase in commodity prices such as food and beverages at 9.92%. And it's low-income earners like Tabitha Wangari, a domestic worker, who are feeling the impact of the high cost of living most. Tabitha says she's been forced to reduce her food budget drastically to accommodate other needs.
Things like meat are not in the budget anymore. I don't have the money.
She says the high cost of living means that certain items can only be purchased once a month.
When gas is finished, because it's expensive, I use a stove, and when paraffin is finished, I use charcoal.
This is known as cost-push inflation, brought about by overall price increase as a result of an increase in prices of raw materials and production costs.
So the high cost of fuel will end up being passed on to the consumers. And of course, the higher oil prices contribute to inflation directly and by increasing the cost of inputs as well.
The government blames the Russia-Ukraine conflict for the high cost of living in an economy still trying to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Experts say good policies can cushion the consumer from adverse effects.
With greater food security and an enhanced manufacturing industry, all these supply shocks and all will have a reduced impact.
Robert Nagela, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
Elsewhere, the Central African Republic has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, the president's office said on Wednesday, becoming the second country in the world to do so behind El Salvador. Kalu Aja, finance analyst, shared his insights with CGTN.
I think overall, it's a head scratcher, right? Low internet penetration in CAR as well. But if you read the backstory, I think they're saying this is the way to get themselves off the CEPA. Because the CEPA is tied to the euro, it's expensive, right? So they can't print or do deficit financing. So probably this is a way to introduce competition. That's the backstory I'm reading into this. I don't think a lot of folks will use Bitcoin in CAR because of the low internet usage and low power consumption there. So that's what I'm looking at more or less that's going on.
And that is realistic. But of course, El Salvador was the first nation to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. What we hear so far is that the use of Bitcoin is struggling to gain traction in the country. Somebody said only about 20% of their population are trading in Bitcoin or are using Bitcoin. Are there any lessons from El Salvador's experience that we can turn to?
Yes, I think it has to be an organic adoption. So El Salvador was a government-driven adoption. They actually asked folks to download the app, and then you get $30. So almost everyone in the country downloaded the Bitcoin app. I think it's called the Chievo, the wallet, and then they got $30, and then they spent it. So in 2022, no downloads of the Chievo wallet. I think remittances to El Salvador using the Bitcoin, 1.6%. So very, very low utilization simply because it's a dollar-based economy, lots of immigration to the US, so dollars are sent back to El Salvador, and that's what they spend, cash. Bitcoin has got to be organic, right? People have got to see the use case and then adopt it. If it's top down, it doesn't really work, which is what might happen to CR as well.
And certainly we mentioned earlier that the government is doing this in an effort to assist the economy. But of course, we know central banks globally and also financial institutions around the world, such as the IMF, they've warned of the risks of cryptocurrencies and the risks they could pose to a nation's financial stability and, of course, consumer protection. Does CAR's decision signal any movement in governments on the use of cryptocurrencies? Is it just a tiny blip? Is it smart?
Tiny blip, we're not sure about it being smart. I think El Salvador, the bond, their talks with the IMF have stalled. Their bond, crypto bond has also stalled. The IMF and the World Bank have asked them to take it off as an official currency. You can use it, but not officially. So CR, I think, is going to stare down that tunnel pretty soon. I don't think it's going to give them brownie points with the International Development Organization. So yeah, I'm not too bullish on that. If you want to talk about who can benefit, you're talking about a country, say, like Nigeria, with a large adaptation, large remittances that can use this informally without the government getting involved. So I don't see central banks doing cryptos anytime soon. We're going to see more of central bank-backed digital currencies like Nigeria with the e-Naira. But in terms of adopting Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, that's not going to happen.
Well, viewers, that brings us to the end of this bulletin. But before we take leave of you, here is a quick recap of our top stories once again. The Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service has further clarified controversies surrounding the $669 million withdrawals mentioned in the Auditor General's report. The Director of Health Promotion and Education laments Gambia's COVID-19 vaccination rate, saying it is far below expectations. Plus, a Portuguese organization, IMVF, and partners are training returning migrants on entrepreneurship. And away from home, fuel prices in Kenya rose to historic highs in April, adding more pressure on the economy and pushing up the cost of living. Elsewhere, Central African Republic has adopted Bitcoin as legal currency. Well, that was all we have for you this hour. We'll be back at 2200 hours with more news. Until then, thanks for the place of your company and do stay tuned to GRTS.